Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 30-Minute Gospel. My name is Chris, and I'll be your host as we open and study the Bible together. I'll be reading from the King James Version, but you can feel free to read whichever translation that best suits you. I would just recommend that you have a version that does not delete verses from God's holy word. Each video will be a biblical teaching of 30 minutes or less. My material is completely 100% free, so you can share these videos with family members, co-workers, friends, or anyone you know who either needs to hear the Word of God or wants to study in a casual setting. The gospel is free to all, so I will not accept any donations, gifts, or beg viewers for money. Please give to your local church or a Christian organization of your choosing. You can reach out to me with questions or comments at 30minutegospel@gmail.com, but please keep your message respectful and cordial. Well, welcome again, everybody. We are on video 7, or I think it's 7 or 8 now. We're going through the end times. Okay, and where we last left off, we were talking about the 144,000, which are the 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel, and how that's going to be played out during the end times. Okay, and right now, what I want to go over is the next thing on our list is the 7 trumpet judgments. Okay, there's going to be 7 trumpet judgments. Now, as I said, this study is not in precise order. Okay, I recommend there's some great 7-year tribulation timelines that you can get online that will tell all of these events in their precise order. I am not going through that in their precise order. I am just going to tell you the events that are going to happen, the judgments, because even if I did tell you the times that I believe these events will happen, there's much debate over when these things will happen. Like I believe in the pre-trib rapture. Okay, we talked about the rapture at the beginning of this study. But some people have it in the mid-trib, some people have it in the post-trib, so there's debate about when that will happen. I just believe in the pre-trib rapture, and so I don't put it in necessarily order. I'm just telling you there will be a rapture. Does that make sense? There are going to be 2 witnesses, and we're going to talk about that where it is. So we're just going to go over this. So right now we're going to talk about the trumpet judgments. The trumpet judgments are spoken of in the book of Revelation, chapter 8, verses 6 through 11. Okay, so if you go to Revelation chapter 8, verses 6 through 11, it says this: And the 7 angels which had 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail, fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third of the part of the trees were burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Okay, so the first trumpet, hail and fire that destroys 1/3 of the trees and burns up the grass. There's going to be hail that's going to fall. Could this be part of a meteorite that heads to Earth and then breaks up into pieces as it enters the Earth's atmosphere? Maybe. There's talks that in 2029 there's I think it's called Apophis, is a meteorite that could be coming. I think that's what it's called. Could be coming very close to Earth and may strike it. Could that meteorite be coming through the atmosphere and somehow break into pieces and then scatter throughout the Earth and then hit certain areas, destroying it? Possibly. That's a possible idea. I don't know, though. I'm not sure about that. All right, so that's what it was. And the second and verse 8 starts, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. Okay, so the second trumpet, there's going to be a burning mountain goes into the sea. What's that? I think that's probably going to be a volcanic mountain. That's what it's talking about, a burning mountain. It's probably going to be a volcano. That's my take on it. And when it goes into the sea, it's going to kill 1/3 of the sea life, and it's also going to and that's what it says there in verse 9 too. It says, "And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed." Okay, so it's going to be like a mountain, a volcano mountain that's going to go in there, probably cause a tsunami of some sort, a huge tsunami that's going to wipe out these ships. and it's going to kill the sea life. How is it going to kill the sea life? I don't know. Maybe the lava coming from it as it goes into the sea could be causing that. I don't know. It's a good question. So it's just very interesting. So if you go to verse 10, it says, "And a third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third of the part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter." Okay, the third trumpet. This is what's called wormwood. Okay, there was a star that fell out of heaven, burning as it were as a lamp, and a third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters, and it became the star, and the star's name is Wormwood. Interesting to note, somebody pointed this out to me. The word Chernobyl, now Chernobyl, there was a nuclear disaster in the Soviet Union in 1986. Chernobyl, it was a nuclear plant that melted. It damaged all the waters. Chernobyl means, in Russian, it means wormwood, which is just it's kind of interesting. Wormwood, if you know what wormwood is a plant that grows, and in actuality, wormwood is a very effective way. They called it wormwood because it got rid of worms in people. So if you have like a parasite in you, or a or worms or whatever, if you take wormwood supplement, it should get rid of them because they don't like it. The worms do not like it. It's very bitter, and that's what it's talking about. It says, "In the waters became bitter," because it's what it is. Okay, so this wormwood, it's going to make the waters of the earth bitter. Men can't drink it, so they're going to die because the waters, they can't drink it, so they're probably going to die of dehydration, these sorts of things. You can only go a few days without water, so that's what you can do. Okay. Verse 12 says, "And the fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise." Okay, so what it's talking about here is that it's going to get dark, okay, on the earth. It's going to it strikes, this basically, uh, basically there's a strike. One third of the moon, stars, one third of the moon, the stars, and the sun. The day is going to be two-thirds in darkness. Okay, two-thirds in darkness. And I just want to let you guys know, these trumpet judgments are the judgments of God. Okay, these are the judgments of God. I believe, now when will these judgments happen? I believe these judgments are going to happen in the last 3.5 years. Once the abomination of desolation happens and the Antichrist sets up his kingdom, at that point, I believe that almost the entire world, when the mark of the beast comes in, which we're going to talk about, that when that comes in, the mark, and people are in there, God is going to use this as judgment on the earth. And he's going to bring judgment. And so Satan is going to claim to be God. It's going to be probably peaceful for the first 3.5 years. And as he claims to be God, God does not want to give Satan credit for creating this prosperity and everything. So he's going to bring judgment on the world for people, because the church and pretty much all of the people are going to be gone from this earth that are his true believers. And so God is going to judge them all. Okay? All right, so if you, it says here, "I beheld and heard the flying angel through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound." Okay, now chapter 9, starting there, it says, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit, as smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them were given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God on their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and unto the heads whereas they were crowns like gold, and their faces were as faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as teeth of lions. And they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue with his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there are two woes more thereafter. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Basically, um, this thing is saying, it says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. Okay, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Okay, now I want you to notice things. This is Satan. Okay, we know this because Jesus, it's making reference to Satan. He has the key to the bottomless pit. This is where he's going. Okay, there's an angel that has a bottomless pit, but it's kind of, this is what it's talking about. Jesus said, I saw Satan fall from heaven. Okay, and it talks about that Satan and his minions in the book of Revelation are cast to the earth, 1/3 of them, when they make war in heaven. Okay, so Satan is going to be cast out. Satan right now is not in hell, if you don't know that. He's not in hell. He's not running hell. I know that's what movies and things like to depict, but he's not there yet. Satan has a kingdom on this earth. He has access to heaven. We know this because of the book of Job tells us this. The angels had to present themselves before God. It says this in chapter 1 and verse 2, and with them was Satan. Okay, Satan is the god of this world. Jesus, we've talked about that in many other videos. Jesus refers to him as the god of this world, the prince of this world. Paul talks about him as Paul talks to him as he is the god of this world. Peter, John refers to him as he has control over the earth. This earth is under his control. So he has a throne, but his time is very limited. There's going to come a day where he's going to be cast out. It's time's up. Because God's trying to save as many people as he can, he doesn't get rid of him right away. Okay? He isn't getting rid of him right away. So this is a reference to him that he has fallen from earth. That's the son of the morning star. It mentions this in Isaiah chapter 14. All right? But I want you to understand this, that if you notice this is the fifth angel. I want to talk to you about this. I believe is a misconception within the Christian community. This is just my opinion, take it as it is. As you know, numerology means things. 3 in the Bible represents the Trinity. Okay, as you know this. The number 6 is the number of man. 7 is God's perfect number. 8 is the number of new beginnings. The number 10 is representative of the law of God, the 10 commandments. Okay, 12 is the administration. It's the number of administration, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 apostles. 40 is the number of transition. Like 40 days or 40 days and 40 nights, and 40 years in the desert. There's transition. Okay, well, the number 5 that they've always said, a lot in the Christian community have said, the number 5 is the number of God's grace. Okay, I understand that, but actuality, I believe, this is by reading the Bible and studying it, the number 5 is representative of Satan. That is Satan's number. Okay? That is Satan's number. I'm going to give you a few proofs of that. This is just really quick. Okay? What happens is if you look at it, it kind of sets it up that way. If you look at 7 is God's number, 6 is man's number, Satan's number is 5. Okay? There's a battle between human beings between if they're going to choose Satan, they're going to lower themselves to Satan, or they're going to higher themselves to God. They're going to, you know what I mean? They're going to go and God is going to bring them up. Okay? So 7, we're 6, so we can go up to God, okay, by believing in him and being saved, or we can lower ourselves to Satan's level at number 5. And that's what Jesus talks about. It says, you shall crush his head and he shall bruise your heel. Okay? That's what that's talking about. Is it's talking about Jesus Christ, but that is also true of mankind. We can, with God, crush Satan's head. Resist the devil and he will flee from you. That's what it says. We can defeat Satan, but Satan can bite our heels. You see, we're on top of Satan. We can crush his head, but he at number 5, at number 6, we're 6, we can crush his head, but at number 5, he can get our heels. That's the bottom of the number. The heel is the foot. And he will try to, I hope that makes sense. He will try to trick you and hurt you and get you right there. Does that make sense? Okay. So you see this. This is the 5th angel, and he has the key to the what? Bottomless pit. Okay. It's a star cast from heaven. It's the 5th. It's the 5th. Uh, uh, it's the 5th angel. Okay. He falls from heaven. Satan, if you actually do the numerology of Satan, just if you're just doing, some, what do they call it? Gematria is what they call it. Satan, if you take the letter, like A is 1, B is 2, 3 is C. If you look at the word Satan and put the letter numbers together, it's the number 55. Satan, Lucifer, it's interesting. Lucifer, the name Lucifer was his original name. That's 7 letters long. When he was kicked out of heaven, when he was basically removed from heaven. I mean, he still has access to heaven, but when he was removed from his place, his name became Satan, which is 5 letters long. And I want you to notice this. He opens this bottomless pit. These things come out, these locust-looking things. They sting man for how long? 5 months. Okay? 5 months. So God is allowing Satan basically to torture mankind because of what they've done. And the number 5 is the number of Satan. That's what you see. If you look at, I just use these examples. If you look at who were the opponents of the Jewish people, the Philistines. The Philistines had what? 5 cities: Ashkelon, Ashdod, Ekron, Gath, and Gaza. So those were the 5 cities. Okay. There were 5 kings that came against. I think it was 5 kings that came against Joshua. There were 5 of them. There's 5 kings. If you look at the children of Jacob, okay, the 5th one is Dan. Dan is the most pagan of all of them. They're the most pagan tribe of them all. He's the 5th. He's the 5th son. Okay. Number 5 is almost always representative of Satan or the enemies of God. Almost always. And I want you to read that. If you go to Isaiah chapter 14, this is a very famous verse. If you go to Isaiah, let's go there. Man, I went way back. But if you go to Isaiah 14, and this is talking about Satan, again, it says, uh, Isaiah 14, it says, let me see, where is that? Um, It says, oh yeah, it says starting verse 2, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning star? How, see, there he is, he falls from heaven. The star falls from heaven. This is what it says in Revelation. It says, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, it says, listen to this, it says, I will ascend. All right, notice the eyes right here in verse 13. It says, I will ascend unto heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit up also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. He says it 5 times. He says I 5 times in that verse. Okay? He says I 5 times. All right? That's I. That's challenging God. That's his number. Okay? If you ever go there, what do they call his sign? His sign in Satanism, what is his sign? His sign is the pentagram. What is that? That's the five-sided star in the circle. It's five-sided. It's pentagon. Pentagram. That's what it is. All right? It's the number 5. You keep seeing that number show up with him. All right. Most all of the nations, almost all of the communist nations that you watch, very evil, very pagan. They're paganistic, atheistic. Most of those communist nations, they all have that five-sided star. And if you look at China, which is the most pagan of them all, it's got 5 of them in their flag. They've got 5 stars. They've got five-sided stars in their flag. That's Satan's signature. He will find a 5 in there all the time. Okay? That's why we worry about one of the there's a religion, I'm not going to mention it, but they have 5 pillars. Okay? That worries me. All right? And they do most of the nations that have that 5 side, their signal is the moon, which is nighttime, which is dark, and also a 5-sided star. Okay, that sort of thing. Yeah, that to me is Satan's writing on the wall about that, to let you know if you're smart enough to pick it up. If you actually read the book of Nehemiah, okay, the book of Nehemiah, those opponents that come to Nehemiah, they keep opposing him rebuilding the wall. They come to him 5 times. When when um, when God speaks to Moses the first time in the burning bush, Moses gives 5 excuses of why he can't go. That's Satan working in him, trying to stop him. You see, that number is there. Just like you always see 7 with God, whenever Satan or the enemies of God who are used by Satan come in, there's always 5 involved. Okay? There's always the number 5. Now, we know later on, we're going to talk about this, that the number of it is the number of man, 666. Well, that's what's going to happen is man is going to, because there are no Christians left on this earth, and God is kind of left the earth alone, man is going to try to pull Satan up from number 5 and put him at number 7. But all he can get close enough to is a 6. He's going to be Satan. He's going to be Satan. Satan's going to be basically his child. The Antichrist is going to be Satan in the flesh almost. And they're going to try to push him and put him in the place of God. So he's going to get close to 7. He's going to be 666, but not all the way. So what's going on here is these locusts, getting back to that, that's just a little thing for you to understand why this is 5. These what it's going to be is that these things are going to come out, these locust looking things. What are these things? I don't know. They sound terrifying, but they're going to come out and sting man. They're going to sting the ones that have the mark of the beast basically on them, and this thing is going to torture them for 5 months. Man is going to they're not going to be able to sleep. They're going to beg for death but not receive it. Okay, God is not going to let them die, because the whole time these people have not been seeking God. They have not been seeking God at all. And they didn't care whether, because they weren't seeking God, they didn't care whether they lived or died. They didn't care. They did not care if they died the next day. These people are only living for themselves now. These people left on the earth that are getting stung. They don't care about life. They don't really care about their life. They don't care about God in the afterlife. And now, when this torture is going to come on them, you know, they were uh, they're going to be seeking to die, but God's not going to allow it. God says in Proverbs 8:36, it says, "All those who hate me love death." So all these people hate God. They love death. That's what it says. If you hate him. Now, it doesn't say if you don't believe in him. There's some people who believe in God. They may not trust in Jesus Christ, but it doesn't mean that they hate God. They're still going to hell, but it doesn't mean that they hate God necessarily. They just may be ignorant of who he is or something like that. And but it says all those that hate me love death. So all these people, they hate God, they love death, but when they get stung, they want death to come, and God's not going to allow it. So what they have loved this whole time, they're not getting. They're not going to receive the desire of their heart, which is to die. Okay, I hope that all makes sense with that. So it's going to be a horrible time for them, and these people are going to suffer mightily. Okay, but we'll leave it at that. We are still not done, but we're going to keep going. I hope you guys learned a lot today. I would encourage you to like and subscribe, or like this video and share it with anybody, and subscribe to my channel here. You can hit the subscribe button down there at the end of on this video. I also have a message on my YouTube and my Rumble channel called the Peace with God, the 30 or Peace with God, the gospel message. Please send that video to anybody you know who needs to hear the gospel. Okay, we don't have much time left on this earth. I don't think. We need to get the gospel out to as many people as possible. That's why I'm doing this channel. Okay, and so I also have a Facebook page, 30-minute gospel with Chris. I encourage you to like and follow that page as well. And I also have an email, 30minutegospel@gmail.com. You can email me anytime you'd like with any questions or comments that you may have. Okay, but please, all my stuff is 100% free. Please send it out to anybody. This is my service to God. I'm not seeking anything for it. This is coming nothing. I'm not begging anybody for money. I want you to give it out, but I give that out to another local Christian organization. But I just want to get the gospel out. And I thank you all again for tuning in. And I'll leave you with this. Remember, just as Theodore Roosevelt once said, a thorough knowledge of the Bible is worth more than a college education. God bless you all.